narrative therapy is a real thing, and there's many practices within that realm. And we have Kristin Pedemonti, who knows so much. Now, she has taught us in the past about some of these practices, and there are more than what she's already shared. And whether you went to that workshop or this is your first time really being with Kristin about these things, this is the place to be on Saturday, May 2nd, 2026, for this virtual workshop. So it is called Narrative Practices That Expand Perspective, Sparkling Moments, and Wonderfulness. Now, sparkling moments and wonderfulness, I have to admit, Kristen, that almost seems made up, but these are serious practices. Can you explain? Like, it's a fun way to explain it, but tell me more about this.
I have to say how much I love how you just language that. And it's probably why I enjoy these practices so much because they sound magical, don't they? Yeah. So sparkling moments, the way that I like to describe it is a gentle way to point out inconsistencies in someone's description, perhaps about themselves or about a problem. It's a way to notice openings for shifts in the story or in the perceptions. So I can give a tiny example. It might be someone might say, "Oh my gosh, I am just anxious all the time and I really it prevents me from doing anything." And then maybe a few minutes later, they'll mention how they went out for a cup of coffee with a new friend. And in sparkling moments, we'd be really interested in that. Gosh, you mentioned that you were able to go out for coffee with a new friend, not even a person you really knew that well. And I'm really curious about that. What do you think about that? You just shared how anxious you are all the time, and this seems like something different from that. And then the person might say, "Oh, wow, yeah, I was able to go." And then it opens up a whole conversation around what helped them to be able to do that, and really thickening that story. And with wonderfulness, what that is about is kind of exactly what it sounds like. It's remembering the wonderful, whether that's about oneself or about someone else who is in a problem situation. So it's recalling all those character traits, all those attributes, all those ways of being, the skills and abilities that that person has that they may have forgotten because the problem has been so all consuming for that person. And this practice was created by David Marston, David Epstein, and Laura Markham all together. And it started out with children. So there's a wonderful book that I'll refer to. It's called Narrative Therapy in Wonderland. I love that title so much. So it's really exploring what are those strengths and positive attributes of the person that may have gotten forgotten, and we'll dive into that more. Hopefully I didn't
Well,
give too much away.
it's one thing to know what these are, but obviously we're going to have an hour and a half to explore them more. So we're just getting a little tease of, well, this is what it is, but then it's how do we apply this? Now, a lot of the people who will be coming love storytelling in one way or the other, the oral storytelling. So what is maybe one thing, I'm sure there's many reasons why people could use this in their lives and what they do. What is one big reason you think would be great for our attendees?
Yeah, I think, oh my gosh, there's so many. I
Yes.
think one of them is we can really get caught up in forgetting the wonderfulness of a person that we might be having a challenge with, or a group of people we might be having a challenge with, or even with ourselves. We might be having a bunch of self doubt or something that's really preventing us from being able to show up the way we want to show up. And these practices help both personally and in our relationships. And I would say professionally as well, in being able to do our craft, if it's storytelling, or if we're a teacher, or if we're a therapist. These practices can help us remember those aspects about ourselves, and with sparkling moments, to not get so caught up in the problem that we overlook these other facets that might help us to broaden our perspective. I mean, I think the biggest one and the broadest one is it opens up our perspective more so we can see things we might otherwise miss.
Yes. And all of us can always improve our ability to see in other ways. all of us can do that. And that's why there's so many different practices. Like these are two, and there's so many. And this is the place to be, everybody. Now, is there any advice you'd give for someone who's coming, how to prepare themselves for being with you with this workshop?
I would recommend reading the handout. It'll share the definitions and a few of the kinds of questions that one might ask in those two practices. And I think just the willingness to show up and allow your own mind, your own perspectives to maybe widen a little bit. I don't think there's anything really special you need to do to prepare, is show up with an open mind.
So whether or not you review that handout, and that's sent out a few days before the actual event, so you might not even have that chance. It's okay. But this is part of the Summit and Festival of Story Crossroads. So you can actually attend Kristin's workshop and just that workshop, and that will fill your soul already. Or you can get the Summit Pass and not just have Kristin's workshop, but also we have Chetter Galloway and Randel McGee and all the recordings with the summit and festival. So either you can focus in and let's yay Kristin, or you still yay Kristin, but with everybody else. And those details will be at storycrossroads.org/festival. And then you can figure all those things out. So this is the place to be, May 2nd, 2026. Until we tell again.